Welcome to the Wisdom Lifestyle Money Show. I'm your host, Scott Dillingham. Today I have Paul from Cooperators with us. So welcome, Paul.
Hi, how are you?
Awesome. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Good. So I'm so glad you could be here and part of the show. I'm curious, though, before we dive into how your services can benefit investors from the different tiers and products that you have, I'm curious about your life and how you got to be Paul.
Wow, so that's a long story. So obviously, well, I don't know if it's obvious, but I'm Chinese Jamaican. I grew up in Toronto. Worked with Sun Life for about 18 years. Moved from city to city to city. So as you climb the corporate ladder, they moved you to different cities, and ended up here in beautiful Windsor, where the weather is absolutely outstanding. So there's absolutely no complaints. My neighbor is actually should I mention his name? Sure, I don't know. Dennis. He's actually my boss. So when I was working at Sun Life in my position as a FCM, he's sort of the same position in Cooperators. So we'd always talk about trends and things that are coming down the pipeline, whether it be through MFDA or whether it be through CHLIA or whatever their governing bodies are. So we struck up a pretty good relationship. I told him I got a package. He's like, great. He came to my kitchen table and interviewed me that day. I told him I want to take a couple years off, spend with family. Like, during all the time that you're sort of climbing that corporate ladder, you sacrifice family time.
It's hard work too, yeah.
So I took about a year and a half off, and did house projects. Been Mr. Mom, cooked the meals. The best part was calling my wife and saying, "What do you want for dinner, honey?" And she loved it. She absolutely loved it, and the kids loved it. And then it just got to that time. I was like, okay, Dennis, let's go with the offer. And now I'm with Cooperators, and I think the reason why I really like Cooperators is it's such a multifaceted company. Like, we can do everything from home, auto, life, health, wealth, disability, commercial.
Yep.
So, working with you, Scott, and looking at your sort of outreach within the community, I think this could be a good working relationship where we can help your clients in every facet.
Well, and that's why we're here. And the other thing too, full disclosure, I have my insurance through you guys, right? So
Are we allowed to say that?
yeah,
And yes.
we are allowed to say this.
Fantastic client, by the way.
I do. And I also have the life insurance with you guys. I know you offer sort of a bundle package where you can get greater discounts the more you have, kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I was able to take advantage of that, which was really cool. So yeah, our show is predominantly listened to by investors or homeowners interested in mortgages or money, that type of thing. So let's touch on the different, because you said you're multifaceted, right? So let's touch on some of the topics and coverages and things that you guys can do. And then in future episodes, we'll really dive deep and really outline it for investors.
Perfect.
And I will preface this by saying one of the cool things in how I was introduced to Cooperators was my last home and auto insurance company. They had a limit on how many properties I could own. So what happened is I hit that limit, and then they're like, well, we can't help you anymore. So I actually had to get another company. Now, I wasn't going to just switch for that new house I was buying, because then you lose all the discounts, right? You get the discounts by bundling. So then it was Cooperators. And so you guys just kept me going and going and going. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, where do you like to start? Would you like to talk about the home and auto, the investments? Where would you like to go?
If it's okay with you, I want to talk about my team.
Sure.
I think it's important when you're working with any kind of vendor that you have a strong team, a strong unity, strong culture. We're very people oriented. It's not about the numbers. And I think one of the biggest things when you're looking for an advisor or a team for whatever financial endeavors you're looking for, it's important that there's continuity. There's more family. It's with us, I don't really care if you spend a lot or you don't spend a lot. It's my joy of what I do is I get to put you in a better position than you were before you met me. Whether it be $10 a month, whether it be hundreds of $1,000s a month, it doesn't matter to me. I enjoy working with people, and my team has pretty well been handpicked since I've been here, and everybody has to have that mentality. My little caption at the end is I'm a phone call away. And I mean that. For all my clients, you can simply call me, whether it be financial advice, mitigating taxes, intergenerational transfer of wealth, business continuity, whatever the case may be. My job is to be there for you. Now, my team, I have a commercial specialist. I have a home and auto specialist. I just hired another person who does what I do in the financial planning. And then I hired another home and auto person. I've got a lot of training in the next little while. But everybody's here is for service. Like really at the end of the day, it's nobody buys cooperators. They buy the people they work with. No one's going to buy LendCity. They're going to work with Scott and your team. And I think it's very important that we have the right people in place, and I'm very confident in my team, and I think we're here to service the community and whoever needs our services.
That's awesome. No, I love it. That's awesome. So let's talk for investors, right? So they're buying home insurance, right?
Yep.
Real estate investors. So let's touch on home and auto, and then we'll touch on some of the investments and how you can protect your assets and,
Absolutely.
and that type of thing.
Absolutely.
So can you talk to us sort of what you do? Obviously, auto's auto, but what do you do for homes that's kind of unique for a real estate investor?
For homes, again, it doesn't matter how many homes you have with us. You can write as many homes as you want. So if you're an investor with a large portfolio, and you want to deal with one person,
Yep.
we're the home for you. Like back in the day, like 10 or 20 years ago, it's always diversified portfolio, everything in every aspect, whether it be for insurance, whether it be investments, this, that, and the other. But now people are really liking the fact that I can deal with one person. Now, the cool thing about us, again, your home, auto, life, commercial, health, wealth, everything. But now you just simply call our office and we're going to know who you are. So if you have several homes and now you're looking to buy a plaza, or now you're looking to buy a commercial property, or whatever the case may be, it's all done in one house. We have all your information. So at that point, the more that you're adding to your portfolio, the easier it is for us actually, which is kind of funny because all your information's here. Oh, we're adding this. They're an existing client. And I think that's important. And you will feel that sense of, hey, listen, it's very simple to get a hold of what I need to get a hold of. And I've dealt with investors as well. And the one thing about investors is when you want information, you want it immediately. You want to know. You don't want to hear somebody say, okay, I'll call you next week. It's not the way we work. We're all based on service, and our services, our reputation that helped us grow to where we are today.
The other thing too that's super cool, and I'll share it from my experience because I got this. So you guys offer, I think the standard is $2 million liability per property. Is that right?
Pretty standard, yeah.
And I know we're not getting into the nitty gritty here, but just to give an investor an example. So a lot of investors are fearful of being sued, right? What if a tenant trips and falls and there's liability issues?
Yeah.
So you guys have that good liability, but what you also have that I love, that I got from my whole portfolio, is a $5 million umbrella on top of what the property has. So then technically speaking, I have $7 million
Correct.
per property. Not all collectively at the same time, of course, but if there was a liability claim here or there, I'd have up to $7 million, which is super impressive because a lot of investors, they don't even know about that umbrella product. So I think that's super.
Yeah, I think it's, again, anybody with a portfolio with multiple properties or whatever the situation, the umbrella is just that added extra safety. Just it takes one accident, it takes one thing for this to be activated in the sense of like, oh my God, I don't have enough. Now you're liquefying assets or doing whatever if something should happen. We want to make sure all our clients are taken care of to the best of our ability and best within industry standards, of course.
Yep. No, I love it. That's awesome.
Oh, thanks.
Now, a lot of clients, investors, buying these properties, the lenders want them to get, it's not mandatory, but we have to ask the client. So it's mandatory that we ask the client if they want like a life insurance to protect the mortgage.
Yeah.
Now I know a lot of investors say, I'll speak to a professional about this. Can you talk about how your products might differ than the mortgage insurance they could get, from us?
Absolutely. I just want to make sure we have enough time because I get really excited about this kind of stuff.
Okay.
Anytime we have an opportunity to better position a client, we take that. When you look at creditor protection, there's a couple issues with creditor protection, and I think this is where you're going. As your mortgage value decreases, so does your protection. Now, we believe if you're going to pay for a certain amount of benefit, you should get it. So that's where life insurance comes in. So to give you a quick example, okay with time? I'm probably going to talk a lot. With a quick example, so let's say you're paying $100 a month for just a small policy for a mortgage property. Now that property is worth, say, $400,000. Now over time, it's going to drop to $200,000. You're still paying $100 a month, but now your benefit is half. So if something should happen at that point, the benefit that's paid out or to the mortgage company is $200,000. Problem is you're paying for $400,000. So instead of using creditor protection, you use a life insurance policy.
Okay.
Because if I'm using a life insurance policy for $400,000 and it's $100 a month, you can have 10 cents on the mortgage. It doesn't matter. You're still going to get paid $400,000.
Okay.
From that point, as a financial advisor, I can help you look at mitigating taxes, different solutions, whatever the case may be. But really, at the end of the day, here's a check, Scott. It's yours. You do what you want to do. Well, I'm not writing that check. So make that clear. This is recorded.
I tried because I knew it was recorded, so I was like, I gotta try this.
Yeah, but I mean, really, again, here's an added feature that a lot of people don't know. I mean, when you're investing in properties and you're getting credit protection, you think, I got an investment, I should protect it. But here's a better way of doing it. Now, think about that $400,000 that you get. You can use that money for another property.
Yeah.
So let's do business continuity. Let's look at ways of filtering business to make sure that there is no interruption.
Yep. No, I agree, which is an awesome product. So I do think a lot of clients who state, so this is the one thing that I find, they state that, oh, I'm going to talk to my advisor about this insurance, and they never end up doing it.
Yeah.
So, and then, a life event happens and they wish they did. So for anybody listening to this right now, please, if your intention is to get yourself this protection for you and your family, I would just do it. Just do it now. Don't delay. Yes, give him a call. And we'll share his phone number, your phone number at the end and everything. Okay, so we touched on, umbrellas for investors. We talked about the protection. I know you guys do a lot of commercial stuff as well.
Yep.
Can we touch on that?
Yeah, absolutely. We have a commercial team.
Okay.
With cooperators, we have a specific appetite that we like, but it's expanding and expanding.
Yep.
Typically, I can give you a quick one. We had a person who bought a building, large building, old Ford building, but had no real plans to do anything with it. In that sort of case, we have to look at vandalism, squatters, this, that, and the other. On. Those are things that I'd be concerned about. But then we got another one, like a tool and die shop. That's automatic. You know what I mean? So to kind of give you an idea of a commercial, the thing with commercials, we'll take on any commercial, but I'm also going to be very truthful. If I think it's going to be more liability than we can take on as an office, then I'm going to tell you. My appetite's pretty big, just saying. But I think it's important that I'm upfront and I give the information properly.
Yep.
Now, again, we have commercial specialists as well as we have a commercial team dedicated to us.
Okay.
I think it might be because of my boss, but I have certain privileges that can really help. And I think what helps the most is when it comes time to renewals.
Yeah.
So as an example, when you're looking at any kind of commercial or any insurance, like home or commercial, and you look at the renewals depending on the property, could be substantial or whatever the case may be. Now, I've been given a little bit of a privilege where I can help augment some of that. So the clients that I do work with, I will always try to put you in the best situation. And financially, when it comes to renewals, it's good. Because when you're reaching out to get commercial insurance, anybody can give it to you. And they'll say, oh, yeah, here's a great deal. It's really, really cheap.
Yeah.
And the next year is, you get slapped. It's 40% more. All right. And that won't happen with us. Because we do the proper due diligence, as well as I have a little bit of wiggle room.
Yeah.
A pretty good amount of wiggle room to make sure the renewals are going to be sustainable all the way through the usage of your commercial insurance.
Yep. Now for commercial, and I don't know if you do this, I'm just asking because I know I've seen cooperators employees do this. Do you do the site visits?
Me personally? No.
No? Okay.
My team, yes.
Okay.
So there's certain parameters that happen, again, depending on the commercial property, where we can do it. So sometimes a client can just go around and take a couple pictures for us. That'd be great. We'll tell you exactly what to take. If you're unavailable, it's say you're international, you're in another country, or whatever the case. Absolutely, we'll do it. If you're just simply busy and you're tied up in meetings, we do have enough manpower to send people out to do it, as well as we have a company. So there's no issues. Our job is to make it simple for everybody.
Okay.
It's that simple. If you're just there and you're like, hey, listen, I can take the picture for you. Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate it. If you're not, we got you.
Okay. And then just on commercial, before we go on the investment side of things, is there any property types you do not do? Or maybe you can give us some examples of what you do. So multifamily, office space, like bowling alleys, you'll do all that stuff?
Yeah. One I just learned about the other day is we won't do swimming pools, community centers that way.
Okay.
We're big for non-for-profit. So we actually have a department for non-for-profit commercial properties where I think it's okay for me to say this, but I do believe we are the best when it comes to that.
Okay.
So, and the reason why I'm sort of hesitant, I don't know exactly. I got to get confirmation, but I know we've never lost a deal against not-for-profit, and usually the client will come back and say, "Wow, like that's such a big difference from what we have from before."
Nice. Yeah.
So which is great. So it carries that confidence. When it comes to not-for-profit, I have no problem. But typically, we'll look at everything. Like contractors can literally be done in minutes.
Okay.
To kind of give you an idea when you're looking at commercial insurance. And most properties are pretty simple.
Okay.
And there's also one more thing I just want to add is that when you're a client with us, you get some privileges as well. So if someone is buying a brand new property, there's a lot more due diligence and everything else that goes in it. And if it is a high sort of liability to us, then there's questions about it. But if you're an existing client, we just say, okay, existing client has some properties, let's just put it through.
Okay.
And then we can put it through. So there's also some wiggle room. Again, we may not be the 100% best in price, but I can guarantee my service.
And I can vouch for that personally. I mean, that's
Yes.
where my insurance is. So that helps. So cool. So let's talk about investments. A lot of people, I know this just from working at the bank, right? They look to the banks and different investment advisors for investments. Quite often you skip or don't think of your home and auto insurance provider as investments, but can you touch on sort of the type of investments if a real estate investor is looking to maybe diversify their portfolio into other asset classes?
It's funny. I think that's one of the biggest thorns in my side is when you meet with a client and they say, "Oh, I have my investments with the bank." My first question is this: What's your advisor's name? Guarantee they won't know it. Because every so often the investment advisor changes. If you're looking for a home to plan on your investments, if you have a specific time horizon or whatever you're looking for, well, then we're going to tailor and customize a solution for you.
Okay.
So typically things you look for is like time horizon, risk tolerance, all those type of categories to make sure we get the right thing. But I'll be with you because this is my cup of tea. This is where I work. I'm in the financial planning part of my office. I'll be with you from education, and I think education's key. The biggest thing I do with my clients is make sure you have enough education. Don't just give me money because you like me. I've had a lot of people do that.
Yeah.
They're like, "Paul, I trust you. Here's $1 million."
Yeah.
I'm like, awesome, great, but no. I want you to understand where you are, where you're going, what we're projecting to, and looking at different investment classes, whether it's going to be managed portfolios or customized solutions, whatever the case may be.
Okay.
My main role again is working with investors is business continuity, intergenerational transfer of wealth. How do we get money from the pot that we've built out in a tax efficient way? Advisors out there are easy to take money. Everybody can take money. There's no problem. No one's going to say no to money.
Yeah.
The question is, how smart are you when you're actually depleting the funds that you have in retirement? Are we pulling from RSPs? Are we pulling from TFSAs? Are we pulling from whatever the case may be? And my job is to make sure that we don't pay the government a lot. I can say that, right? I want to
Sure.
I want to mitigate how much we pay the government. I don't know about you guys, but I'm tired of paying the government. But you have to. You have to where you have to, but there are also smarter ways. Like we can invest through your corp, we can do insurance through your corp, we can do all kinds of things through your corp where you get corporate taxable tax benefits.
No, that's awesome. Cool. No, I'm excited. I'm actually really excited to hear those segments and how we break it down and really talk into these different features and products for the investors that listen to this. So I'm excited. We do have to wrap up, but thanks for coming, Paul. And for everybody who's listening today, would you be able to share how they could reach out to you if they're looking for some insurance or a quote or just anything at all?
You know what? Specifically to you, if you want, my cell number is 519-980-0708. That's how you get me directly. What I like to do is I like to talk to the clients, kind of give you a breadth of who we are and what we do. And then I sort of delegate and allocate to the team whether it be for commercial home and auto, for financial planning, that's me and Evelina is another person on our team. And we work it out to make sure that you get the satisfaction you need.
Awesome. Sounds good. Thanks for coming, Paul.
Listen, it was a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
No problem. Take care,
All
guys.
right, take care.